I'm counting on you to take the extinguisher out. So, Matt Corral is being brought in to Philadelphia
Yes.
by the front office to have a conversation. Basically, it's a job interview.
Other ways of doing it. You know, I was Harry, I took notes. All these guys, I took a lot of notes just from checking it out. And, you know, I like the way you did that show, man. I like it.
Well, see, what I wanted to do was, Barrett, you and I are going to do a show completely different than that show. And I do that because to me, and again, you know, the one thing that I've learned about the Philadelphia sports fans, you know, they keep asking me, because what you don't want to be is a fraud. Oh, look at Sileo parading in and parachuting in, and he's covering the Eagles. How I do things, Barrett, is completely different than anyone else.
Right.
I get a temperature of the fan base. You want to know the worst fan base I've ever talked to? Is in Los Angeles.
There is no fan base.
They don't give a shit about sports. They care about the beaches and doing other things. Man, college football is not registered. I get in New England, college football is not registered. It's more of a professional area. They love their professional sports. South Florida in general, they love the Gators, they love the Canes, they love college football. So I've talked from East Coast to West Coast, and I get what people are, but I've met only two fan bases, Barrett, and I would probably throw the Steelers and Pittsburgh into that conversation as well. The people in Boston, when I spoke at and did radio at WEEI, man, they got a picket fence around that city. And you come into that city and you start talking shit on the Celtics or you start talking shit on the Red Sox, you better come with receipts.
Right.
And that's kind of the same thing in Philadelphia. You know, I got emotional yesterday a little bit when we started talking about Jerome. Mm-hmm. And Jerome used to tell me about, you know, the Philadelphia sports fans. And, you know, before he died, he was talking to me. And I'll never forget the day when Reggie, you know, had to announce at the vet that Jerome had been killed. And it still breaks my heart today. I can't believe I even watched that because I don't like to watch that. And he was just talking to me. He goes, Phils, these people, man, they'll kick you in the head and prop you up and tell you what a good dude you are if you go out and perform for them. I said, but isn't that what we're all looking for when it comes to fans? You don't want people who are frauds as fans. Hey, you're doing a good job. Great. Hey, you suck, dude. The people in Philly want to root for you. They want to. They hate when they have to turn on people like Ben Simmons. They hate when they have to turn on people like Carson Wentz. I made this point yesterday to you. You know, Howie getting more draft picks, he still missed on the franchise quarterback. He missed on the franchise guy. And now we're debating whether or not Jalen can be a starting quarterback for Philadelphia moving on. And you're like this. Okay, so we got more draft choices. He got the contract off. So he rectified a mistake in a way. But at the end of the day, he failed at finding the franchise guy.
Who's jumping up? He jumped up to the second pick.
You don't get this, Barrett. And I think Philly sees this. I don't think you get this. Hey, way to go getting that contract out of Philly and you moved him. Hey, congratulations. Dude, you made the mess. You want me to give you credit for cleaning up your shit that you made here.
Well, he's masterful at doing that, though. That's one thing that Howie Roseman can do. He can go up and clean up a mess that he created. Like the mere fact he didn't create this mess. I think it was more so it was more so Chip Kelly did. But Chip Kelly brought in Vernon Maxwell. He was the number one free agent cornerback. I think it's Chip's first or second year, his first year. And he was terrible, man. I mean, he was terrible. You could tell the Legion of Boom, he was the worst guy in the Legion of Boom in Seattle. So Maxwell came out and Byron Maxwell, he didn't do anything, man. I remember his first game, he goes up against Julio Jones in when he's with the Falcons. He turned around, he said, so he's kind of smiling, you know, when he comes out, you know, to interview him. Hey, man, how does it feel, man? You just got torched by Julio Jones. He had 120 yards and catches. He said, damn. No, he said, shit, he had that many yards? I'm like, what you mean he had that many yards? He crushed you. He took you for a loop. He was spinning you around like a top. And he rewrote his wrong by immediately getting that guy out of the locker room and trading him and Kiko Alonso, another one of Chip Kelly's bad, trades, and got them both out of there and sent them to Miami. And that
you want me to do? Pat you on the back for that?
Right, and he eventually got him to. But see, it was Chip though. Those were Chip guys. But he did get those guys out of there.
That's right. He was in the broom closet.
Right. He got them guys out of there, traded the contract, and then jumped down was able to get to number 2 and pick up Carson Wentz then. But Carson, you're right. Carson Wentz didn't work, man. He didn't work. So
dude, that was supposed to be what's this? Barrett, I'd rather have the franchise quarterback than the number 1 pick. I don't okay. I get a number 1 pick. What are you gonna give me? Derek Barnett again? Jalen Reagor? I don't need the number 1 pick. I need a franchise. Here. They're trying to build this team without the franchise guy. You get all those picks. You get all those picks, Barrett. Okay. How can you build the team when you don't know if you have the signature piece on your football team yet, and you're going out and you're acquiring all these pieces? You see, you know why Brady worked in New England or Aaron Rodgers or any of these other places work? When you have a quarterback that you know you're in contention for a Super Bowl, and you get draft choices, and you can have maybe not the greatest roster on the planet, but you're protecting your quarterback. You have players that can move the chains. Amendola, I've made this point to you. Do you know Tom Brady won Super Bowls with not one first-round draft choice in his huddle?
What?
Except for Sony Michel. I want you to think about that. All the draft choices and first-rounders that Howie has, Tom Brady won 6 championships with not one first-round skilled player in his huddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brady was a 6th. Amendola, Welker, Edelman.
He took everybody's garbage.
Gronk,
and made him great. Well,
Hernandez. Gronk was a 2nd. Hernandez was a 5th or 4th.
Yep. I think he was a 3rd. If I'm not mistaken.
I thought he was later because of his shit at Florida.
That might have been the case. He wasn't a lot of it.
Because of the crap at Florida, he should have been. My estimation, Aaron Hernandez is one of the top players in the history of Connecticut football, and Steve Young's out of that place, and there's a couple other great Hall of Famers that played there. What's his name? Romanowski played up in that neck of the woods too.
Romo did?
Yeah, Romo's a Connecticut guy. We made a lot of all-star teams together when we were in high school.
I did not know that, man.
Yeah, no, he's really hey, what's his name? Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner, man, from Groton, Connecticut. Just to throw that in there. I don't know, man.
You're right. He was a 4th rounder.
Yeah, it's a 4th rounder.
Yeah, him and Gronk got drafted in the same draft class. I didn't know that.
Holy cow. Wait a minute. Gronk was in the 2nd, and Hernandez was in the 4th. They drafted both of those tight ends in the same draft?
I think so. Because I just saw something on Gronk, I think yesterday, saying he got drafted in 2010. Let me look.
Holy shit, man. I did not know that.
Let me see.
Wow. Dude.
I'm thinking it's so, though. Let me look.
Man.
Come on, everybody. You know I always try to research it, man. 2010. Yes, 2010. Gronk was 2010. Hernandez was 2010. One was the 42nd pick, and the other was and Hernandez was the let me see. He was the 113th pick.
That's crazy great.
In
Hernandez would have been a Hall of Fame player too.
He has his skill level, man.
He's like Travis Kelce.
And that's how they revolutionized,
Yes.
They transitioned from a fullback to a 2 tight end, 12 personnel backfield, and the smaller defenses couldn't line up with it. They didn't know what to do.
They were annihilating teams with that.
Pick your poison. I mean, you go out there, when you have 2 tight ends in, that means you're going to run the ball. Well, both of these guys are skilled enough to go out and catch passes like receivers.
Incredible.
So you were wrong. You could line them up. You could line both of them up in the slot. And now a defense has their regular personnel, their base personnel, which is 3 linebackers. Now you have a linebacker lined up on one of these tight ends, and neither one of them could cover them. And a safety couldn't cover them, and a linebacker couldn't cover them. So man, that offense, man, was unbelievable because he found a matchup in which nobody could defend. Nobody could defend.
No,
him.
you couldn't, because they would kill that seam, and you didn't.
Yep.
You had to have cover 2, Tampa 2 type linebackers like Derek Brooks to cover, or like. And I told you this before. I don't know if you played with Ryan Shazier, but I'll say this to you: when Shazier got paralyzed, it destroyed the Steelers' defense so much because he was the Gronk neutralizer.
Yep. He absolutely was.
He could defend that seam, play the run. He played those tight ends as well as any linebacker, and he was bigger than Derek Brooks. And remember, Tomlin came out of that Tampa 2 Tony Dungy coaching staff in Tampa, and he knew he needed a linebacker. If you want to be able to stop a linebacker, you've got to have a special linebacker that knows how to deal with a Tampa 2 type defense.
Yep. And that's what Shazier was at Ohio State. Yep. He was able to cover those guys. We had the reason why we were so good on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody talks about Joey Porter. Yes, he was dominant. Clark Hagan on one side, Joey Porter on the other side. We had, had Big A. We had Aaron in there. We had a lot of guys that could rush the passer. But a guy that nobody really talked about, we call him Peasy. And that was James Ferrier. Potsy, we call him Potsy. Peasy was Joey Porter. Potsy was James Ferrier. James Ferrier was that linebacker. He was a traditional Mike or Jack linebacker in that 3-4. But he
Michigan guy, right?
No, he's Virginia.
Virginia.
You're talking about Larry Foote. Now, Foote was actually the middle linebacker. He was the run enforcer. That's what he was. And then you had James Ferrier, who was a guy that could run with running backs. He could run with tight ends. We lined him up everywhere. And that's what he was. He was that piece that nobody really talked about in the defense, but he was the glue that had that defense together because he could cover guys. And he would also, how you defensive linemen like to say, hey, I see something. I got this. I'm taking this gap. I'm taking this gap. And he'd be like, oh, man. So now I got to cover my gap and your gap. He was that type of linebacker that could do that.
I love to go out there. Hey, I'm shooting the gap. That means I don't have to take on Barrett. Hey, I'm hitting the gap. Linebackers, you can hear behind me going, no, man, no. And you're going like, hey, man, it's TV game. Big Sil's got to get back there in the backfield. I got to get my face out there. It's a summer all in Madden game.
That's exactly what when I sit down and talk to Seth, and we were talking about, we're talking about Brown. He said all the time, he said, man, I was forever covering up a gap. He said, hey, I see something. And Seth would be like, oh, man. Hey, he said, of course, Jerome, I got deep flats, man. I see something. He said 9 times out of 10, if he saw something, he would go make the play. But sometimes he wouldn't make the play, and Seth is sitting there like, all right, what do I do? What do I do?
There's like a lane right here, like I-95.
Right.
Okay, I have something here for you.
All right, here we go.
Barrett Brooks, are you ready?
Let's go.
Hold on. Where's my lighter? I'm going to light it on fire here. I'm counting on you to take the extinguisher out. So, Matt Corral is being brought in to Philadelphia by the front office to have a conversation. Basically, it's a job interview.
Yes. One of the 30 it's one of the 30 interviews that each team has. They can bring in a rookie. Bring in a draft choice and interview him.
Why him?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. And when you look at Corral, he was a little flighty with his passes. Not last year, but the year before last. So he put the ball in harm's way a lot just because he's one of those guys that believes in his receivers. So sometimes he would throw the ball in double coverage, just thinking that his guy could go out there and make a play. Well, he changed it around this year. This year, he had a better season. He had better numbers, even though the team didn't do as well as they should. And, Lane had them going in the right direction, but they just didn't – early in the season, they didn't win as much as they should have. He was like the catalyst of them turning around and becoming a better team. And it's because he has a live arm, man. He can throw any pass you want to. He has a strong arm. But he just didn't have the decision-making in the year before. Well, this year, he kind of refined it a little bit. He became a better quarterback. That's why his name shot up the list, towards the middle of the season. His name shot up that list because he was playing better. He wasn't putting the ball in harm's way as much as he did the year before, which made him a better draft prospect because he has a cannon of an arm. He limited
his interceptions.
Yes, he limited it. But one thing that, hurts him, another thing that hurts him that he hasn't really understand it, he's not 250 pounds. And he plays the game like he's 250 pounds. He's going out and seeking punishment from linebackers. He's going, if the play breaks down, he's going and running like he's a running back. Now, he has to cut that out. Take that out of his game.
Oh, don't worry. That'll be beat out of him when he thinks he's going to take off. And, hey, and you start running against some of these teams. Do you know what – and, again, it's a great point. You know what defensive coordinators started doing to Tim Tebow?
What's that?
Tebow would go down that line of scrimmage with that ball in his hand.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You know what the defensive coordinators are telling him? Whether he has the ball or not, destroy him.
Yep, hit him.
And they started destroying him. And by the end of the game, this guy's beat up, and there's no way he was going to play with that RPO style in the National Football League. So if he thinks he's going to take off, and by the way, he's not an RPO guy, so that's not something, but maybe he's the only guy with this quarterback class that kind of fits what the Eagles are looking at, because Malice Willick, Barrett, even all the way back from his time at Auburn and then when he went to Liberty, he's an RPO guy. They don't want that style of play in Philadelphia.
No.
They want to get caught up with the modern day NFL.
And Corral can definitely do that. And I now if I don't know if I think he'll be in the second round, but they would have to trade up to get him in the second round.
You think Matt Corral goes to the second round?
Yeah, I think he goes to the second. I think there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks drafted in the first.
Pickett and Willis.
Pickett and Willis will be the 2 quarterbacks drafted in the first. That's what I'm thinking. A guy that they're not really talking about is a kid from Nevada. He has a live arm also.
What's his name? Carson?
Carson Strong. Carson Strong. Carson Strong he's the prototypical stand in the pocket quarterback. Like 6'5", 6'6", right around there, 6'5", 6'4", around there. Has a strong arm. He doesn't even have functional mobility. He's Brady-esque as far as his mobility. He ain't running from anybody.
But isn't that that's the prototype quarterback though that we saw in the playoffs?
Yes.
It's the guy that sits back there and fires it from the pocket.
It's what you see what you see with the Bengals right now. I mean, he can hose it. He can fire it, man. He can throw it, man. And I liked it. I did the Nevada Kansas State game, and I watched them. And I mean, what they did on defense was great because they blitzed them every single play. Well, they really blitzed them because Kansas State runs a 3-3-5. So they'd have 3 down linemen down there, and they would still bring 2 back. They was bring 2 backers, so they was bringing 5. So that is blitzing because once you bring that 5th defender, that becomes a blitz. So they were lighting him up because his offensive line wasn't that good. They were kind of stiffs. So they would delay blitz him, knowing that they had tight man coverage on the outside. So he had to hold it a little bit and wait for his plays to develop. And they were able to hit him, and he wasn't going anywhere. Wherever he started off, that's where he stayed. You know what I'm saying? The shotgun, he stayed right there. Well, that kind of hurt him, his functional mobility. But talking about a guy that can sit in the pocket and deliver a ball, he's not scared to get hit in the face. He's going to sit there and he's going to deliver the ball down the field. Corral is different. Corral is more so. I'm not going to say he's got the talent level. He's probably on the same line as Allen is. Allen was when he first got drafted. They're very comparable on their skill sets while they were in college. Very, very comparable. In fact, I think Matt might have been a little bit better than he was because he went against better talent in the SEC.
And I think Josh is a little bigger too.
Oh yeah, Josh. I mean, and that's what got him drafted. His size got him like 6'5",
totally.
6'6".
It was not his. That's a great point. He's one of the guys that benefited from going to the combines.
Yep.
Because when you saw him, Barrett, you were like this. Holy shit, this guy's a big dude with a cannon arm.
Yep. Exactly.
And Corral's
6'2".
He plays in the Southeastern Conference. That's what's going to get him drafted. I'll make this point to you, Barrett. If Matt Corral's in the second round, I'm the Eagles, and he's fallen that far, and my pick is there, man, I'd be hard-pressed not to go and get him.
No. You're gonna have to trade up to get him, and I would not be mad them trading up and getting that young man. I would not be mad. Say what you want to say, Matt Corral. He's worth a second round pick. You know what I'm saying? So for them to go up and get him in the second round, they would have to do that. I'm totally on board with that. You know what I'm saying? They got Jalen in the second round. They can go get him in the second round. You're saying there's a quarterback, they're a quarterback factory. And I mean, okay, a quarterback. I'm not trying to hear that, but he's worth the draft. And he's got that internal clock that's busted up. He doesn't care about an internal clock. He wants to make the big play all the time. And I think that might hamper him a little bit in his progression when he becomes, when he does get to the pros. That internal clock is kind of busted. So he's going to try to exhaust every single play. And some people call that hero ball, but that's his mentality. He feels as though every play he should go out. And I think that's what hurt Carson. I know that's what hurt Carson. He wants to exhaust every play to the last, very second that he's trying to get the ball and deliver the ball down the field, make every play work. And sometimes you got to realize that, all right, I got to, throw the ball out of bounds or slide to live and fight
or
another
punt.
day. Or right, exactly. They don't do that.
That's how Brady made a living, man. Punt.
Yeah.
Is there a quarterback in NFL history that utilized the punter and field goal kicker more than Tom Brady did in his
Great
career?
observation.
How many Super Bowls did he win? Exactly. How many times did
I know a three. I know a three that he won from conceding back, like, you know what? I'm gonna get the ball down. I don't have to score it. I'm gonna let Adam Vinatieri go out there and be the hero. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I see, in Matt Corral, I think he doesn't have that in him. He has a little bit of Carson Wentz in him in the aspect that he wants to exhaust every play. But sooner or later, you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? Sooner or later, you get knocked out. Sooner or later, you get hurt. And then you realize, oh, these guys now are bigger, stronger, and faster. These guys can run with me just as well as, anybody in the league. In fact, I'm playing against an entire team of Alabama and Georgia players as opposed to just playing, Alabama, Georgia just once a year. Every year, every game he's going to be playing against those type of talent, when he gets to the NFL. So maybe he, develops into a guy that's going to be a lot more sensitive to his body, and not get beat up like he got beat up in college.
I've said this to folks that if I was a general manager of a team, it would all depend on my needs and everything, but I would take a quarterback in every single draft that I had an opportunity to draft. If I had multiple picks the way the Eagles have over the next 2 years, I would draft a quarterback. You never know when you're going to find Kirk Cousins. You never know when you're going to find Russell Wilson. You never know when you're going to find Tom Brady. You never know when you're going to find these guys. And think about it, Barrett. Half the league and half the superstars. Hey, Aaron Rodgers was a first rounder, but he was the 25th pick.
Right.
In the first round.
Right.
He was the 25th pick. Russell Wilson was a third rounder.
Yep.
You look at all these star quarterbacks that are in the game, and you look at Cousins. I think he was a fourth rounder. He's got like 6 4,000-yard passing years in his 10 years. I mean, you look around the league, they don't necessarily have to be first rounders. So, but still, Howie bringing him in means what?
It means they're definitely considering him as being somebody that can help the team.
Is it smokescreen
No.
or due diligence or both?
I think it's due diligence.
Okay.
It's not even a smokescreen. They're not even trying to hide it. I heard about this 3 days ago. So they're trying to hide this. And they don't care what anybody says because how he's going to go about what he's going to go about doing. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care what people say about him. He cares when it's all over with because he loves to say, I told you so. But he firmly believes in his ability to evaluate talent. He firmly believes in it. And he won't deter in any way from his ability to do it. He'll let you know. He will definitely let you know.
Jerry Jones thinks he's a good evaluator of talent too.
Right.
Like I told you, Howie Roseman and Jerry Jones, they're like the American Idol guys that are doing their auditions. Yeah, I know. And you go like this. That ain't cutting it, man. Hey, Oceans would kick your ass out. That ain't working at Oceans, man. You're working at the Motel 6, dude. At best, okay? No, my Mom Brooks says I'm good.
Hey, you know what? I'm looking at Drew Brees. Drew Brees was a second rounder.
Yes, out of Purdue.
And he would have been a first rounder, but that's the year one of the teams got their first round pick taken. I think it was 2000. It might have been New England that got their first round pick taken from him for doing something stupid. And he got drafted pick number 32, which is actually the first round. But one of these teams,
Chargers took him.
Yeah, the Chargers took him. But why? I'm trying to think of what was the team? What team got their first rounder taken from him in 2001?
I can't remember, but I do know this. I saw his last college game against Georgia, and I was doing sideline, Barrett, for the Outback Bowl. I'm on the sidelines. I saw this guy throw for 356 yards, and I went like this. I remember going home to my wife that night going, this guy Brees can throw it around the room, man, but he's 6 feet. I don't know if he's going to have a chance to play in the NFL. Well, good evaluation, Sales. Way to go, man. That guy. There was another kid, too, that was on Georgia that got hurt in, like, the Pro Bowl. He was a running back. I forget his name, man. He was like the rookie of the year, and he got hurt. It was a Georgia running back. I forget his name, and it was Georgia-Purdue in that game. By the way, speaking of Big Ten, you know, Ohio State never produces quarterbacks for the NFL. Look at what Purdue did. Len Dawson, Hall of Famer. Bob Greasy, Hall of Famer. Drew Brees, Hall of Famer. Jeff George. Dude, there's been a shitload of dudes that come out of that program. Ohio State ain't produced one of them. You're looking for that because it's bugging you, right? The 2001 thing. You're looking, all right?
Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to tell you this, though. You're right, man, because I you know what I went through in my last year with the Eagles, you know. I had a Ohio State quarterback.
They suck.
Well, he definitely did. What was his name?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Stream, help me, though.
Here's what suck means to Barrett. Damn.
Right.
Watch this. Damn, throw it, dude. Damn, throw it, dude. Right. Damn, throw it. Bang, he's hit.
And here it
is.
You
blame that guy. Wait a minute. So you blame that guy for putting that tag on you.
Man. I mean, if the shoe fits, you got to wear it, man. You know, Bobby Hoying, thank you, 007. Bobby Hoying, yes. Bobby Hoying was the quarterback that did me so
that
dirty.
Guy put a tag on Barrett.
Yes. Ohio State great.
Hey, Bobby Hoying took money out of Barrett's pocket.
He took money out of a lot of people's pocket. We were 3-13. 3-13, man.
In Philly?
Yes. It was needless to say,
Ray
Rose was fired.
They must have killed you guys, man.
Bro, Ray Rose, like, it was so bad, man. Guys were, you know, I'm walking in with Ray one time, and we had a tight end. He was going up to Jimmy Johnson. Tight end Jimmy Johnson was walking up the stairs. And Jimmy, it's like 6:45, 7 in the morning. Jimmy, you know, he was an older player, man, so he could get there real early so he can get his body ready. So he's walking up, and he's got all his stuff with him, big bags and everything. I'm like, yo, where you going, man? I said, man. And Ray told me, yeah, Jimmy, where you going with all your stuff? And he said, what you mean? You just cut me. What are you talking about? I said, man, I didn't cut you. Jimmy followed him down the steps, went down to his office, and they had cut him and didn't even tell Ray Rose that he was cut. Didn't even tell him.
Who was the GM then?
Banner? Banner was, yeah, Banner.
Dude, that organization has no communication with any head coach they've ever had.
Right.
let me, I got something else to hit on. That is hey, hit the like button. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Dan Sileo.
Oh, it's 11:40, man. We way off.
I know, man. I know. I rock this thing way too past it here. Hit the like button.